Hi, I'm gonna rant a bit in my story, but I will also get to the point. I made the decision that I will no longer tolerate my wife's cheating and blatant disrespect. It has made our marriage lifeless at this point. Couples therapy hasn't worked. I made several reconciliation attempts to reignite our love. We even spoke with our local church pastor for counseling. I got uncomfortable when my wife would jokingly tell me she thinks our pastor is cute. She would say the pastor reminds her of a celebrity crush, Jason Momoa, the actor. She has confessed she thinks about him when she touches and plays with herself. These were mind games she was playing to get us to stop going to marriage counseling, and unfortunately it worked. We stopped going to counseling because I just couldn't stop picturing my wife lusting over a man who was supposed to help guide us through our tough marital problems. Even the pastor innocently touching her knees when speaking and smiling needlessly with her at this point was bothering me. She would often smile back flirtatiously and compliment the pastor, all in front of me. My gut feeling told me something was off. They both made light of our marital issues. I will get accused of being insecure by my wife because I thought they were crossing boundaries with the useless physical touches right in my presence. The friendly pastor was not our problem, but he wasn't helping either. Both my wife and I are not willing to divorce, but now, I'm finally ready to walk away. This is my story. I met my wife when I was 30 and she was 25. We got married 2 years later, in a beautiful church ceremony, with a small gathering of family and friends. These were the only good memories of our relationship as we were both genuinely happy. However, that happiness would be short-lived. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party. She initiated the contact as I was just laid back that evening, enjoying good food and music. To be honest, I thought she was a little out of my league, because she is beautiful, even till now. She is charming and her presence can command a room. She has always been the life of the party, and she embraces the attention every time we go out. Guys are always complimenting her. I should have known what I was getting myself into, but I always thought she was self-disciplined enough to not entertain every male that comes across her way. She would always say I'm a jealous type. But what kind of guy would want to see his girlfriend dance with another dude in his presence, even if there was no touching involved, as she would claim? I was very tolerant, but my wife always liked to tell me I was lucky to have her, and she would embrace the role of a trophy wife. Nothing I did seemed to satisfy her. I received no appreciation for what I do, because she would always tell me that I'm a man, and these were my expectations as a husband. She would claim that to protect and provide is my responsibility. Responsibility and no gratitude should be expected in return. I normally shrug off these statements, but then she would also add that other men, my peers, do more things for their wives and build empires for them. I make an honest living, and I don't know what other men do, nor do I compare my pockets to any of them. We live comfortably, and I can't live beyond my means to impress anyone. I am the sole provider and the only one who works and provides for our family. Even though we have no kids, my wife would often joke that she can't look for work because she's too cute to be stressed. At first I thought it was a joke, but later realized she meant what she said. She quit her job at the salon a few months after we met, and I honestly have no idea how she had been paying her bills. She always finds a way to stay afloat financially. I would ask where she was getting her money, but she told me she saved up a fortune, so I would stop asking. Looking at her response in hindsight, I think she might have had sugar daddies who pay her, but I don't have evidence to support that claim. As for me, I work as a consultant for an insurance company and often travel a lot. Even after long travels, when I make it back home, my wife doesn't seem to miss or appreciate my presence. I would tell her that I always long to come home to her after these travels because I miss her. But she won't even bother to come to the airport with me or pick me up. The little gestures, you know. She always tells me to call Uber or get a rideshare, which isn't a problem since technology has made everything much easier now. Either that, or I would park at the airport and shuttle to my flight departure. I would come home and find my wife doing nothing but watching social media and posting pictures of herself on Instagram. I often tell her that I don't approve of the pictures she has on her social media, and they are not suitable for a married woman. She would say, I have an old-fashioned way of thinking and there's nothing wrong with her pictures exposing parts of her body. She would tell me she's empowered as a female and I can't rob her of her female body rights, or whatever that means. I still don't know how things got so bad between us, and as the therapist counselor advised, lack of communication was a major cause of our marriage breakdown. I'll tell her I'm not afraid to take accountability for what my wife might think I'm doing wrong. But how can I take accountability for the financial difficulties we experience from time to time when my wife refuses to work? We have a joint account, and she has no problem withdrawing huge chunks of money whenever she pleases, and even fails to pay the bills that she was supposed to use the funds for. I walk on eggshells with my wife over petty things, like if I order a meal for myself I must order the same thing for her, but I must also get her something she likes. I am not a mind reader, but I am still obligated to buy food for her every time I order something. I would tell her to just appreciate the free meal. Her favorite habit is to walk away and shut the door with a slam. Loudest bang, she can use her energy to muster. Picture portraits would fall off the wall when she does this, and I'm supposed to pick them up? Or she complains again that I wasn't caring enough to pick up the picture frame on the floor. I can't watch a TV program she doesn't approve of, even when we have more than 3 television sets in the house. I would tell her she's free to watch other programs on the multiple TV sets we have in the living room and in the bedroom. She would say watching TV is a bonding time between couples, but why must I watch what she wants to watch? All I want to do is watch my sports games peacefully. I don't mean to rant endlessly about how toxic my marriage is, but writing down all these issues is an exercise I did a while ago to help me understand what I'm going through and analyze everything. I feel like I'm losing my mind. She's fond of calling me names and putting me down constantly, but the one time I got mad and told her she was acting insane, hell broke loose. I never knew insane was a bad word, which pales in comparison to the worst things she had called me. She said I was implying she was loony and a psycho wife. All these things are so immature, it is inconceivable the kind of arguments we were having. We have had the cliche toilet seat up argument, the who were you talking to on the phone argument, the where were you last night argument, and the I called you, but you missed my call silly argument. I am just done. I started to realize as time went on that I enjoyed my traveling and time spent away from home more than being at home with my wife. This should be the other way around, and I realized it wasn't that way at first. I used to enjoy time spent at home when we first started our marriage. I used to believe nobody was perfect, and the red flags I saw in her would change as time went on. Then I noticed things wouldn't get any better. Because my wife wasn't ready to change, but stuck in her ways. It was then I made the decision and suggested to her that we should separate. I had this conversation with her during one of her argumentative moments. She sharply responded that she wants a divorce instead of separation. I was shocked, but I agreed with her that maybe we should skip separation and just get a divorce. She said fine. The next morning, she came over to the couch where I slept and served me an omelet breakfast. The aroma of the cooking woke me up, and I thought I mistakenly slept in the wrong house because I can't remember the last time my wife cooked anything. She said tempers flared up last night and she was sorry. She asked what I was going to do for the day, and I told her I had planned to look for a divorce lawyer. She laughed and said, "Wow, I was not serious and we were never going to divorce." She told me I should stop being silly. Right on cue, as if I was being controlled, I laughed back with her and said I made a mistake. We made up that day and seemed to enjoy each other's company for a brief while, again until the last incident that has grown my frustration to this point of real divorce. No turning back. Remember the pastor I talked about at the beginning of my story? Yes, the one who helped us with the counseling session. His wife filed for divorce and the news leaked to the church. Apparently, the rumor was that the pastor was having multiple affairs with members of the church choir. These were just rumors, but I remembered my wife was worried when the news broke. To my surprise, she was more interested in who the pastor was cheating on his wife with, rather than the fact that a highly esteemed pastor was cheating on his wife, or the immorality of the sin. The rumor continued to spread about a chorister being pregnant, but no one knew who the mistress was. A few weeks later, a member of the choir suddenly stopped coming to church, and the rumors intensified. It was believed that she stopped coming to church to hide her pregnancy shame, as she was close to the pastor. Well, a couple of Sundays ago, I went to get groceries for the house. The wife of the pastor walked up to me inside Walmart. At first, I thought it was an unplanned encounter and I greeted her, but to my surprise, she came to me and blurted out, "Hey, keep your cheating wife away from my husband." I asked her why the aggression and what she meant by that. She said that's all I needed to know, and I should relay her message to my wife, who would understand. She also mentioned that she and her husband are trying to move on and she has stopped the divorce process, but my wife's constant texting and calling is making it difficult for them. According to her, my wife has been trying to find out if the pastor was sleeping with a choir member that everyone thought he was involved with in church. Why should she care in the first place? Was she the mistress who didn't know her lover had another mistress? This is my wife we're talking about. How did I not see this coming? How did she even get this pastor's number in the first place? Again, why am I the clueless person in this whole situation? So many questions and confusion in my head. It felt like the grocery store was spinning with me inside as the pastor's wife walked away, after the bombshell she laid on me. I started to cry. It wasn't manly of me, but I just couldn't hold back anymore. I have tried, and God knows I was exhausted at this point. It seems the pastor's wife didn't have much evidence or details to show me, but she believed there was something going on between her husband and my wife. I believed her. I don't check my wife's phone personally, because I don't even have her password, even though she checks my phone constantly, because she said I was the one traveling with a lot to hide. If I had access to her phone, maybe I would have done a phone check, depending on if she hasn't scrubbed her phone clean. I was supposed to go home and ask my wife about what the pastor's wife had told me. The pastor's wife's allegation was about, I won't do that. Instead, I'm ready to serve her with the divorce papers. That day, I pulled myself together and told her I had an emergency work trip. Instead of traveling, I just booked a hotel. This is where I am currently staying, and I plan to go home before Valentine's Day to tell her that I'm walking away. I will update this story as time goes on. I'm sure this divorce process won't be easy, because she had already warned me that I should be prepared to lose more than half of everything if I ever dared to divorce her.